जय गोपी जगवल्लभ जय गिरवरधारी जय गिरवरधारी यशोदनन्दन जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. युवधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की। Let's start with Mangalacharya prayers. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatirandhasya Jnananjalashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kritab Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mokam karoti vachalam pangum lagayam yatkripālam vande Shri Guru Dinata Pramanandam Madhavam Shekharam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. So today is the fifth session, right? If I'm not wrong, fifth session. Yes. So what did we do last week? Mind. Can someone tell me something about mind? Control your mind or your mind will control you. Great. What does mind work on? Likes and dislikes. And likes and dislikes are influenced by samskaras. Right. Very nice. So I gave you an acronym as well. Minds. Can someone tell me what M stands for? Magnifying the problem. I? Infinite thoughts. N? Never in the present. D? Distraction. S? Stress. I heard a lot of Matajis actually answering. Prabhujis were a little silent. If I were to grade you, I think Matajis will score high, right? So yeah, so I will suggest all of you to actually keep a book and pen. It's very important, right? So you can refer. It's very important that you refer. So again, we'll discuss one of the great topics from the great scripture, Bhagavad Gita, divine song of God. And like always, we dedicate this session to our founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, because of whom we are able to actually uncover the wisdom that is there in Bhagavad Gita. At the age of 69, right, when generally people think about retirement, probably leading a retired life, right? This particular personality went to the West, right? Because his guru had instructed that you need to teach Bhagavad Gita to everyone, Paschyatya Desh, right? And he took that as his sole purpose in life and went and actually preached the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Now, if you see all across the world, you have got Russian devotees, you've got Britishers, you've got Americans, you've got devotees from China, a communist country, all because of Srila Prabhupada. In 10 years of his preaching, 69 to the age of 79, he built 108 temples, more than 800 centers, right? And it's only because of his mercy that we are sitting here and actually trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, right? He didn't have to do this. He was a very revered sadhu in Vrindavan. He could have lived his life and left his body in Vrindavan. But he didn't do that. For him, he said, wherever we speak about Krishna, that place is Vrindavan. Automatically becomes Vrindavan. So if you see, when it comes to ISKCON, or when it comes to any other spiritual organization, when I give you a name, as soon as I give you a name of the spiritual organization, the founder's name comes in your mind. But when I talk about ISKCON, generally people say it's Hare Krishna, Hare Rama temple. It's only when you come and when we actually introduce you to Srila Prabhupada, that's when you understand who is Srila Prabhupada. Right? Otherwise, generally people think he's some guru here. Right? So that is what Srila Prabhupada wanted to do. And that is what he wanted to give to the society. He wanted to keep Krishna in the front and himself at the back. Right? So there was a reporter in US who said, Srila Prabhupada, we are so happy. What revolution you have brought in. My God, see the kind of transformation in people. People who are always intoxicated, who are always into meat eating and who are always into illicit activities, they have left everything and chanting the holy names of the Lord. They are walking around doing Sankirtan. They are walking around in dhoti kurta. It's a revolution that you have done. We admire you for that. So Srila Prabhupada said, I don't take credit for that. It is only because of Radha Krishna that we are able to do this. But I take credit for one thing. What was that? He said, I presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any concoction. That one I'll take a credit. Right? So, if you see, there are multiple Bhagavad Gitas that is available in the stores. Thousands of Bhagavad Gitas. Thousands. And it's very easy for us to actually pick something and just start reading. But you have to understand, in Shastras it said that Bhagavad Gita should be read under an authentic parampara. Evam parampara praptam. Right? Krishna is told only under a proper bona fide sampradaya you should actually read the scriptures. And one of the easiest ways to gauge what is right and what is wrong, right, is actually see the people that are coming out from that organization. See the kind of transformation. See the kind of behavior that particular organization devotees have, right? And that will actually give you an idea what this Bhagavad Gita has done for that particular person, how it has transformed them. That is one way of actually gauging what is right, right? Like you have, how do you gauge if if a tree is good by the fruits that it produces, right? That's how you gauge it. So today's session is very important, and today we'll actually discuss one very important chapter, which is called Kala Chakra. What is Kaal? Time. What is Chakra? Wheel. Okay. Yeah. So today we'll understand how actually time actually controls our life. Time controls everything. Time controls everything when it comes to creation, maintenance, and destruction. And in Vedic concept, time manages it in a cyclical way. Right? Hope you understand. We have all the 4 yugas, which is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. And again, once it's done, again it repeats. So it is cyclical, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 main aspects that we have discussed. 5 main aspects that is discussed in Bhagavad Gita. The first one is Ishvara. So we spoke about Ishvara here and there, little bit, right? Till now. We'll speak more as the course goes on. Then Jiva. We spoke about Jiva, ourself, inner self, soul and body. Everyone remembers? We spoke about Jiva. Next is Prakriti. Prakriti is 3 modes of material nature. We actually spoke about that. Everyone remembers? And next one is Karma. We spoke about karma, adversities in life, and today we will speak about Kala. So these are the 5 main aspects that is discussed in Bhagavad Gita, right? So everyone remembers it, right? Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and Kala. So today we will actually discuss Kal, time. So general thoughts about time. We think we have a lot of time while snoozing the alarm. I have very little time to finish the task. Wish I had some more time. I wish I had more time. 24 hours is not enough. I don't have time at all. So these are some of the things that happen in our life, right? Maybe my time is not good right now. That's why things are not going my way, right? So this is what general thoughts about time is, right? Sometimes we have a feeling that 24 hours is not enough. Probably 1 or 2 hours if Krishna had added, I could have finished my work, right? Sometimes we are in a feeling that it's time nikal hi nahi raha hai. Have you seen that? Why does it seem like it's a longer day today, right? So that's how general thoughts about time in common people. Have you heard the saying? Whenever I call my friends and just killing time, they say, hey, nothing, I'm just killing time. But if you understand, he's not killing time. Time is killing him. Right? The wrong usage of words. So we'll understand that in a deeper way today. The perception about time, that's what we'll talk about today. There are 2 perspectives of time. One we'll understand it in eternal aspect, and one we'll understand in the relative aspect. Okay. So today what we are going to do is we are actually going to start with universal time. Today the way that I've structured the session is we'll actually look at the universal time, then we'll look at yuga time, then we'll look at our body time, right? So what happens is we'll actually look from a macro level to micro level, right? That is from a cosmic manifestation, then yuga manifestation, and then our body. From a macro level, we'll actually see. So just like when we take off in the aeroplane and we go through a certain distance, and as we are in the flight, what do we see down? We can't see our houses. We certainly can't see our car. We certainly can't see our parents or our kids. Right? From there, it's only a patch. There are certain blue patches. There are certain brown patches. Right? So from a macro level is what we are going to see. We're going to start off today. Right? And we'll go macro to micro, right? So please be very attentive today. So this shloka, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verse number 32. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokakasya Pravardho Lokam Samarutam Iha Pravartaha Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Vashittaha Prati Anikeshu Yodhaha. Can someone read the translation?
The supreme personality of God is said, Stand I am, the greater destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all, with the exception of you, referring to the Lord. All the soldiers here on both sides will be killed.
Right. Thank you so much. And this is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verse number 32. I'll give you a context for this verse. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, Arjuna says to Krishna, Krishna, I want to know about your opulence. Right? So Krishna actually describes his opulence. 10th chapter is about Krishna and his opulence. He says, I'm Sarvasya Prabhu, Matas Sarva Prabhu, I'm the Supreme One. And it says a lot of things. And it's the entire 10th chapter is his opulence. And at the end of 10th chapter, he says, what do I speak about my opulence? The entire universe is just kept just because of a fraction of my strength. Just fraction. The entire universe is handled. So that's when Arjuna says, I want to see your Vishwarupam. So Lord actually gives him the divine eyes because he says you can't watch this with your normal material eyes. And Lord gives him the divine eyes and Krishna manifests his Vishwarupam form. But there's thousands and millions of heads, thousands and millions of hands, legs. And Arjuna is actually seeing the entire material creation within Krishna. He sees certain armed forces, Kaurava's armed forces going into his mouth, getting crushed inside his mouth. Some are stuck between his teeth, right? Some are wiggling there and dying. And Arjuna sees this ghastly form and he's scared, he's trembling. And he asks Krishna, who are you? And that's when Krishna says, Kalos me. I am time personified. And what do you do, Krishna? And he says, I am the destroyer of the three worlds. So you understand? This is where the shloka, and I give you a context as to how this particular shloka. I think everyone would have seen the movie Oppenheimer. This is a very famous shloka that has been used in the movie Oppenheimer. Right? So, action of eternal time. Right? So we have previously studied material elements. Everyone remembers this? Material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and mind, intelligence, and ego. And then how they interact with karma, right? That is karma and modes of material elements. Most of you have attended. Can I get a hands up? Whoever have attended the sessions? Very good, right? So time is the factor that moves things, right? The eternal time in this world has two-pronged actions, I'll tell you. One is controller, another is destroyer. So time controls everything. Time moves and controls everything. And time destroys. As time moves forward, it destroys everything. So you can't say it. So you have to always understand that time is in control of everything. And time destroys everything. Right? So today, if you have your book and pen, it's very easy to understand. Like I said, we'll actually look from a macro level to micro level. There is a small calculation that I'm going to get. It is very difficult for us. I have made it actually very easy. Right? So I was actually working out ways to actually make it easier because this is a calculation which gets little difficult, but I have made it very easy. I'm not inputted a lot of things to make it very complicated. So you don't need to look at this. It will be very difficult for you to understand, right? So today, how many hours do we have in a day? 24 hours, yeah, right? And can you tell me, Kali Yuga, how many years are there? 4 lakh? 4 lakh 32,000 years. How many years have already passed? 5,000 years. So how many years are left? 4 lakh 27,000 years. Few years ago, I think a decade back, a little more than, there was a rumor, I think from the Mayan calendar saying that 2012, the world will end. See, if you actually read the scriptures, we have a long time to go for that. Right? Now we have to see, this is, if you have already started seeing the ill effects of Kali Yuga. This is just the start. There is Gaur Kali Yuga yet to happen. Right? So we can relax. Right? Not that we'll be able to see, never know. If we don't go back to Krishna, we will probably come back and have to deal with it. So it's very important for us to take this very on an urgent basis, right? So the calculation. So let's start calculating. Today we will calculate Brahmaji's life, Lord Brahma's life. Okay, you have your pen and paper? Okay. So 4,32,000 years is Kali Yuga. Okay. Now we'll take that as X. Okay. Take Kali Yuga as X. Now what comes before Kali Yuga? Dwapar Yuga. So Dwapar Yuga, we'll take it as 2X. What is next? Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga, we'll take it as 3X. 3. And Satya Yuga, we'll take it as 4X. How much do you get if you add everything? How many X? What X? 10? 10X. This 10X is called as one Divya Yuga. It's called as one Divya Yuga. Right? So like this, there are 1,000 Divya Yugas in a day of Brahma. So 1,000 Divya Yuga. So it is how much? How much? Can you tell me the calculation? 1,000 Divya Yuga into? Yes, 4,32,000, and that gives you how much? 4.32 billion years. 4.32 billion years. This is just a day of Brahma. That is 12 hours of Brahma. So similarly, there is night also. So that is how much? 4,32,000 into 2. 864 billion years. This is a day of Brahma. This is a day of Brahma in earthly years. Now let's calculate a year of Brahma. So 8,64,000 years into 360 days we are taking. How much does it come? Forget your calculator won't be able to take it. Sometimes our teeny weeny brain also won't be able to take it. So that comes up to 3.11 trillion years. That is 1 year of Brahma. Earthly years is 3.11 trillion years. So like that, Brahmaji lives for 100 years. So 3.11 into 100. So that is 311 trillion 40 billion years. This is Lord Brahmaji's lifespan. Can you understand? So Ham Brahmasmi means I am spirit soul, right? That is the ultimate understanding of Ham Brahmasmi. That is different from Brahmaji. Right? So here we understand that what is the total lifespan of Brahmaji? 311 trillion 40 billion years. That is 100 years of Brahmaji. Right? And actually there is another unit. So this one you can keep it aside. This is easy calculation. There is another unit called Manvantra. Manu. This is just, you don't need to calculate this, a little difficult. Right? And one Manu is actually rules for 71 Divya Yuga. So one Divya Yuga you know how to calculate, right? It was 10x. So one Manu actually lives for 71 Divya Yuga. So like that, in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manvantras. Right now, we are in the 51st year of Brahmaji's life. Right? 51st year, middle of Brahmaji's life. And it says we are ruled by the 7th Manvantra. Right? And his name is Vaivashta Manu. He is the son of sun god, Vivaswan. Right? So that is where we are at right now. And what happens? See, what happens? This is easy, right? You understood, right? It's simple calculation I give. There are a lot of things that is involved. There are a lot of words like kalpa, sandhis that make it very difficult right now. So for now, this is easy for us to understand. That's why I was working out in the morning how to best explain this. It was very difficult, right? So this is our planetary system. So what happens after a day of Brahma? There is something called as partial annihilation. And after the end of Brahma's life, which is 100 years, there is complete annihilation. When there is partial annihilation, everything is submerged underwater except for the three lokas on top, which is Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, Tapoloka, and Janaloka. Below that, everything is submerged under water. And what happens when there is complete annihilation, when Brahmaji's life is gone? The whole planetary system is submerged. I'll give you a little more understanding. Let us get us deeper into it. Let us talk about Mahavishnu. Do you know how many types of Vishnu we have? 3. Generally, people don't know that. Right? There are 3 Mahavishnus. One is Mahavishnu, or Karanodakshaya Vishnu, we call it. Then there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and there is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So Mahavishnu, when he actually lays on cosmic ocean, he's actually breathing out. Right? And do you know how many pores we have in our body? How many pores do we have? We can't count. Unlimited pores. Very difficult to count the pores in our body. So imagine Mahavishnu, when he actually breathes out, exhales, multiple universes are actually coming out from his body, from the pores of his body. Imagine how gigantic. We can't even imagine. Right? We can't even imagine how gigantic it is. And that's when the universes are formed. And Mahavishnu actually inhales. What happens? That is called complete annihilation. Everything dissolves into Mahavishnu. That is the end of Brahmaji's life. So exhale, just like this is our inhale and exhale. Imagine Mahavishnu's inhale and exhale. It's 311 trillion years for our Brahmanda. This is the calculation for our Brahmanda. I don't know the calculation for other Brahmanda. Right? So 311 trillion years. Now, why do we say this? Brahma's life is actually flash in eternal time. If you look at from a macro level, from Lord's level, it is just inhaling and exhaling for the Lord. And there are multiple Brahmas. See, there are multiple Brahmajis as well. For our Brahmaji, who has got 4 heads, who is managing this particular universe. In Dwarka, there is a pastime where Brahmaji actually wanted to meet the Lord. And Lord was there. So Brahmaji, Lord's soldiers actually stopped him, saying, "Who are you?" So Brahmaji got a little angry. He doesn't know who I am. I am Brahma, creator. Right? Creator of this. Okay, go tell Krishna that I have come. So he goes and tells Krishna. So Krishna says, "Which Brahmaji?" So the soldier comes out and tells Brahmaji, he's asking which Brahmaji. So Brahmaji is thinking, which Brahmaji? How many Brahmajis are there? So he goes inside, he lets him inside. Then he falls at Lord's feet. Then he says to Lord, Lord, outside that soldier was telling that you asked which Brahmaji. So Lord, actually, that's when he manifests multiple Brahmajis. Some have 10 heads, some have 100 heads, some have 1,000 heads. So this is our Brahmaji which has got 4 heads. So there are multiple universes. The multiverse thing has come up right now. People talking about multiverse. But in our Shastra, it was always mentioned about multiple universes. Ananta Koti Brahmanda. Right? You would have heard this particular uh, phrase. And that was always there. So when you see Brahma's life, it is just a flash in someone else's life. For us, it's like 311 trillion, 40 billion years. My God, for an ant, our life is, my God, 80 years of human life. And there are certain ants who just live for a day, flies. Yeah, certain flies who just fall into the fire or fall into and die. For them, we are like Brahmaji in their life, right? So that's how it is. We are just like a fly in someone's book. What happens when you're actually reading a book? There's a fly. That is what it is, right? So we are just, Brahma is just a flash in eternal time. So now let's look at our existence, right? So we spoke about yugas, and we spoke about Brahmaji. We'll speak about ourselves. Brahma's lifespan is 311 trillion 40 billion years. My lifespan is 100 years. Do we live? Very difficult right now. Very few. You can probably count in a hands. Very few. With the kind of lifestyle that we live, with the kind of food habits that we have, unregulated lifestyle, it's very difficult to live. Right? So it's very, and still, in the small span of life that we have, we think we have so much time. We have so much of ego. We carry so much of ego. Right? And when we actually look into this from the macro level, this is actually supposed to make us very humble. This is also supposed to make us understand that we don't have much time. Like when we go out to distribute books, we celebrate Gita Jayanti in December. The Gita Jayanti is where Krishna actually gave the message of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So December is the day we actually celebrate Gita Jayanti. If you see outside, ISKCON people, a lot of devotees actually come out on the road and actually distribute Bhagavad Gita. Because it's Gita Jayanti, it's very auspicious to purchase Bhagavad Gita or gift it to someone who doesn't have. So when we actually go and distribute, there are so many characters that we meet. So I say, Bhagavad Gita, please take it home. It's a wonderful book. It has changed people's life. It will help you in your material life, in your spiritual life. अरे I'm just 30. अभी तो बहुत टाइम है, राइट? अभी तो काम चालू हो गया है, वो शादी करना है, राइट? अभी तो बहुत टाइम है प्रभु जी, अभी नहीं चाहिए. There are multiple people. Multiple people. I have met a person who said that I have written my own Bhagavad Gita. Right? So you will meet different characters when you actually go. I'm sure my friends here also have so many experiences to share. So I'm sure you all also will get an opportunity. You should take that opportunity to go outside and distribute Bhagavad Gita, because this is one of the most auspicious things. Because Krishna in 18th chapter he says, whoever distributes this divine knowledge to people is very dear to me. So why do we do it? Because we want to get dear to, we want to be the dearmost to Krishna. Right? So I'm sure everyone, if you just go and ask them after the class also, can you tell me some experiences? There are wonderful, I can take an entire class from the kind of experiences that I've heard from the devotees. And it's wonderful, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. And just like comedy Sharma, we have comedy Kapil Sharma. Just like that, we can take entire class. Right? So, when we understand the time factor from the level of Brahmaji, from the level of Mahavishnu, our Lord, our life is so minuscule. So this ideally is supposed to make us humble. A humility should creep in. We should not be carrying ego, right? A humility should creep in because that's when, see, if we are very proud, I've explained to you this, we are just like a flat plate. Whatever, if someone wants to, I know everything. If someone wants to give you some kind of knowledge, the knowledge will fall and it will trickle down. But if you are like a patra, who is humble, you will actually take all the knowledge, keep it with you, assimilate the knowledge, deliberate on it, contemplate on it, and act on it. That is how. Have you seen a tree with lot of fruits? It's always bent. A tree with no fruits will be straight. That's a person with a lot of ego and pride. He will be straight. But a person with a lot of good qualities, he will be always humble. He will always bow down. This is what is very important in our life, right? Another thing I want to talk about is, since we are talking about time, right? From the scriptures, there is another personality called Lomasa Rishi. There was a rishi called as Lomasa Rishi. So Lomasa Rishi used to do a lot of tapasya, a lot of austerity, and he got one benediction. His benediction was at the end of Brahmaji's day, one day of Brahma, which is, how much did we calculate it was? 4.32 million years, that is. One hair of his body will fall out. Right? Like that, when entire body, his hair will fall out, that's when he will die. So he was actually more than Brahmaji, is the kind of benediction that he is. And when he was always involved in devotional service, so always doing bhajan and kirtan of the Lord. So his disciples were there. And he used to always do it in the open, under the sun, under the rain. He will sit and do his bhajan and kirtan. So his disciples, because of the love they have for the Guru, they said, Guru Maharaj, we actually want to make a hermitage for you. We actually want to make a hermitage for you, so that you can actually quietly chant inside. There is no disturbance for you. You know what Lomasa Rishi told? He got agitated. He's telling his son, what is wrong with you? We have so less time. And you're talking about building a hermitage for me. Come on, start your sadhana. Now, Lomasa Rishi's, you know the benediction. Does one hair falls out, 12 hours of Brahmaji's life. 4.32 million years, one hair falls out. And such a person actually taking time to be such an important factor. So that's when spiritualists actually take time to be very important. If you see successful materialists, they also give a lot of importance to time. Time is a very important factor, which we actually neglect in doing a lot of useless things which will not help in our life at all. When I say that we need to do sadhana, Prabhuji, mere paas time nahi hai. बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं है, बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं है. See, everyone has time. Lord has given everyone 24 hours in their life. It is actually about priority. This nice example that I got from one of the senior Vaishnavas was, if I actually kidnap one of your daughter or son and tell, 1 hour if you chant, I will return your kid back. You will immediately start chanting. If it's a priority, you will do it. If it's not a priority, you will not do it. You will give multiple reasons. I told you how mind works. Mind will give you, actually, especially with spiritual, when it comes to spiritual activities, mind will give you multiple reasons. 4:30 उठ ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में माला करो नहीं, 4:30 ये सोने का टाइम होता है, 9 o'clock, right? So actually the mind will give you multiple reasons as to not to chant, and we actually fall into that trap. So by this we understand how important time is, right? You would have heard about this. This is actually a law in physics, law of entropy, right? Things will get destroyed with time. I think most of you, I don't remember. I'm a Kali Yuga Jiva, so So I don't remember, but yes, I'm sure we have heard about this. We have learned about this. Now, let's look at what the kind of transformation that we have in this yoga, in this all the yugas that we have. How many yugas we had? Can you name them? Very good, very good. Thank you so much. So Satya Yuga is called the golden age. Treta Yuga was called the silver age. Dwapar is called the bronze age. Kali Yuga is called the iron age. Right? So degradation also happened in yugas. As the yuga came forward, as moving forward, the degradation also happened. So there is a nice joke which I always tell. When it was in Satyuga, normally whatever people used to earn, they used to actually donate it completely for the Lord's service. Right? In Satyuga, people were that pious. Treta Yuga, as Treta Yuga came, they thought we are actually giving Lord a lot. Somewhere we should draw a line. Right? And what they did was they drew a line and they threw the money. Whatever fell on that side, Lord, that is yours. This is mine. Then in Dwapar Yuga, what they did, in line ka bhi, I feel lot is falling that side. So what they did, they drew a circle. In the circle, then they threw all the gold and everything. तो सर्कल में तो थोड़ा ही आएगा, बाहर ज्यादा पड़ता है, right? तो उसके बाद then in Kaliuga, what people did was circle में बहुत ज्यादा है. So what they did was, Lord, I'm going to throw this, catch how much ever you can. So this is what actually, I'm just talking about this, don't take this in a literal sense, but this is ideally how our, what do I say, how our mind works or how we actually degraded from different yugas, right? So, does anybody know what are the 4 pillars of Dharma? 4 pillars of Dharma. Truthfulness, very good. Tell me more. There are 3 more. No, not that. Ahimsa, I'll take it as mercy. Yes. Truthfulness, mercy. Then? Which one? Philanthropy. No, I will not take that as philanthropy. So, truthfulness, mercy, there is austerity. And then there is cleanliness. These are the 4 pillars of Dharma. And these 4 pillars of Dharma is actually represented by a bull. And the 4 legs of the bull is actually represented as Dharma in Bhagavad Purana. So as the age progressed, right, what happened? In Satyuga, the bull had 4 legs. All the 4 legs. In Treta Yuga, what was lost? Austerity was lost. As we went to Dwapar Yuga, what was lost? Cleanliness was lost. I think cleanliness is completely lost most of the time. You see, a lot of people actually don't take bath for 2-3 days. Right? I've heard in hostel people don't take bath for a week around. Alright? So that is lost. And in Kali Yuga, mercy is lost. And little bit of truthfulness is remains. Little bit. That is how it is left in Kali Yuga. So you understand how the kind of dharma, the different kinds of dharma that we have, 4 different pillars of dharma, how it was lost in the duration of the yugas, right? So even when you are actually seeing, when you are actually seeing the yugas, Satya Yuga, the mode of goodness was prevailing more. It was mostly goodness. In Treta Yuga, a little bit of passion came into between. Goodness was there, but a little bit of passion came. And in Dwapar Yuga, passion and ignorance also came in. Goodness became a little less. In Kali Yuga, passion and ignorance is only there. And ignorance is in a higher level. Now you understand how the modes also worked? So degradation also happens not in our body, but it happens in yugas also. So as it degrades, the yuga also gets annihilated, right? After Kali Yuga, it is annihilation. And we start again. That's why it's called Kala Chakra. It is wheel of time, cyclic, right? So when you actually look into our day is also divided. Early morning is mode of goodness, conducive for bhakti. So that's why we say that early morning, people say, a lot of scriptures say that early morning is the time you, Brahma Muhurta, you should wake up, clean your body, and then start doing your chanting. It is very important to do your devotional service early in the morning. Why? Because that is very conducive. When we were young, we always used to hear from our parents, right? Subah utke padhai karo. So now, when I actually started reading Gita, is when I realized why they used to tell. Right? But at that point of time, I used to read late night till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. But ideal time is morning because that's when it is very conducive. The mind is very clear at that point of time. When it comes to scriptures, we say that do chanting at that particular time because another way to look at it is most of the people in the world are sleeping at that point of time. Your connection with the Lord actually strengthens. It's easy. There are not multiple people talking to the Lord. There are multiple people talking to the Lord. Lord will still listen to you, right? But it's easier for us. It's very conducive for us, right? It's the right time for us to do our sadhana. Because as we progress in the day, say from 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, a mode of passion actually sets in. फिर घर के काम, ऑफिस के काम, बच्चों के काम, कॉलेज के काम. Then we are in a running mode to get things done. Then as evening starts, 7, 8, what happens? Mode of ignorance starts to influence us. So you see, you can also see, there is a picture of bar. Earlier days, the bar used to open at night only. Now we have entire day. Right? We have Madhuloka everywhere. Right? I mean, one of our seniors was telling what name also they have given. Madhuloka. Right? Right? Sounds very some name that has come from the heavens. Right? Madhuloka. It's like we have Brahmaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka. There is Madhuloka. Right? So now we understand how in our daily life also this particular degradation is happening. So there are certain moods, certain time that is actually given for us to actually do a spiritual sadhana. Right? So it's very important that we try at least to do our rounds of chanting in the morning. See, if you want to get chanting of the holy name will give you the benefit. Whatever time you do, however you do, it will give benefit because it's the name of the Lord. The name of the Lord is not different from Krishna. Krishna says, Abhinatvam nam namino. I am not different from my name. Krishna as a personality, Krishna as a name is same. Because they are absolute. There is no difference. Right? And people who are chanting here, I'm sure you would have experienced this if you're chanting on a daily basis. That it is, you would actually see the transformation from the time you were before Gita course started and from the time you're right now. There are certain kinds of transformation that happens. And this you can experience if you are doing chanting on a daily basis. You can experience this even better if you are chanting Brahma Muhurta. So time, a lot of people tell time nahi hai bro. That is because we mismanage our time. 4:30 को उठना है तो कितने बजे सोना है? 9 o'clock at least we have to sleep. Ideally, in Ayurveda, it says that we should have our dinner by 7 o'clock. See, everything is given in our Shastras. And these things are given by the Lord so that we can lead a nice, normal life. Nice, simple life, not complicate our life. अभी क्या करते हैं? 11 बजे खाते हैं. स्विगी तो है, 12 बजे भी मिलेगा, 1 बजे भी मिलता है स्विगी. So what we feel? Eating, binge eating only. We are not hungry, still we want to eat. This is because there is no regulation in our life. And this ultimately, for the pleasure, for that momentary pleasure, we are actually destroying our life. And that is what is happening to people. People, we say 100 years max. The people can live 100 years max if they bring in some regulations in their lifestyle. In terms of sleep, in terms of food habits. If you are doing sadhana, it will help you much more because your stress, anxiety, everything will go down. That is though it is secondary because the ultimate motive of sadhana is actually to revive your connection with Lord. And when you revive your connection with Lord, rest all looks very small, very small. It is nothing. Just like I said, mind magnifies the problem. Our spiritual sadhana will help us to understand that. Right? This is a nice quote from Srila Prabhupada. He says, the body is subject to 6 kinds of transformation. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects. The soul, however, does not go through such a change. We understood that from our previous session, the inner self, where we differentiated between soul and body. We understood that as a person takes birth, there are transformation that is happening in his body. When he is born, he has more than 300 bones. When he becomes an adult, it is 206 bones. Bone structures, the number of bones also changes. Every 7 years, your new cells regenerate. You have practically a new body. Every 7 years, you have a new body. Yet people call you by the same name, address you the same name. So if body is changing, what is remaining? What is that constant thing? That is your soul. We understood that. And what do? We actually don't dedicate much of our time in taking care of that soul demands or desires. We are constantly polishing this body, but neglecting the soul. Just like a person who was actually taking care of his golden cage, but neglecting the bird inside. The bird represents the soul, and the cage represents the body. You take care of the body so well, but ultimately you don't feed the bird dies. That is called spiritual death, where we completely waste our life in doing only material activities. That's what we do. There is no balance. Spirituality is just like a pickle in our life. You have seen, no? If you see a platter, feast, there are so many. There is roti, there is sabji, there is dal, there is chawal, there is sweet, and there will be small pickle, which we taste in between. That is what we have left spirituality. Right? That's very important. Transformation in our body. So it's from birth till old age. Which stage are we in? Anyone know? Still? Which stage? Middle age. Okay. Everyone agrees? I think I'm in the last few stages. So it is said the body also degrades when it comes to strength, your memory power. Everything diminishes as time goes by. Everything diminishes. Right? So in the age of Kali Yuga, what is predicted in Bhagavad Purana is that there will be a time when the person actually lives only 20 years and he'll be considered 20 years. My God, he lived 20 years. Just like now we think in Dwapar Yuga, people used to live 1,000 years. Right? In Treta Yuga, people used to live 10,000 years. And there'll be a time in Kali Yuga, as Kali Yuga progresses, there'll be a time when people, oh my God, he lived 20 years. 20 years. मतलब उससे पहले वो लोग जा रहे हैं. That is the kind of situation that'll be in. Now, I'm not sure, I heard this somewhere. There was a particular movie star who was supposed to do a historic figure role. And he said that I want to pick up that particular historic figure that, I don't know if it was Maharana Pratap or Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He said, I will do it if I get the original sword. And they tried to get a similar kind of sword. He couldn't even lift it. Right? Those kind of people have to lift 25, 30 kilo sword at that point of time. That is the kind of strength that people have. So if you see, the strength also diminishes. Strength also diminishes. Memory, so we all know. We all know. Unless we do the recap session, I'm sure, right? It's very difficult. Unless we write it down, it is very difficult. Right? So yes. So time does, what does time do? It turns everything to nothing. This is what time does. This is actually a great shloka from Mahabharata. Please repeat after me. Ahani hani bhutani gachati yamalayam sheshasagaramicchanti kimaschare mataparam. So it's from Mahabharata Parva, shloka number 313.116. This is actually a shloka by Yudhishthira. There was a particular episode where the Yaksha had actually kidnapped or taken into their custody the Pandavas, and I think Kauravas also. And there was only Yudhishthira who was left. And Yudhishthira wanted to actually free his brothers. The Yaksha said, I'll ask you a few questions. If you answer these few questions, then I will, because Yudhishthira was the wise one. Right? So Yudhishthira said, I'll answer. So one of the question was, what is the most wonderful thing in this world? What is the most amazing thing in this world? A wonderful thing in the world. That is when he actually repeats this particular shloka. He says, Hani Hani Bhutani Gachanti Yamalayam. Hundreds and thousands of people are dying every time. We see it everywhere. Hundreds and thousands of people. As we speak, there are people dying. Every second people are dying. Every millisecond people are dying. But what is most amazing thing that sometimes we think that we will never die. हमारे पास और time है. There is something called as Smashana Vairagya. That this happens, Smashana Vairagya, this happens when we actually go, when someone dies, right? And we go to the funeral. There is a certain point, or for some time, we think that this will come to me also. That is called as Smashana Vairagya. Right? And this is where Yudhishthira is actually, this is the most wonderful thing. People don't accept it. They feel that everyone else will die, I will not die. And still they continue doing whatever activities they were doing. They bring about no change in their life. Right? Is there anything, see, I'm talking only negative. See, is there anything that grows with me? Is there anything that grows with me? Knowledge? Is it? Knowledge stays? Okay, I do my PhD. I die. Do I next year, next Janma, do I start from PhD? No. So knowledge doesn't stay. What stays? Bhagavad Naam. Memories also. Sometimes it comes as phobia or various other things. Yes. But one thing that carries forward, that is helpful. What is that? Bhakti. Bhakti. Because Krishna says this particular shloka. Please repeat after me. Neha Vikkamanashopi Pratyavayuna Vidyate Swalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhaya. Can someone read? Thank you so much, Father. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 40. So here Krishna says, in this path, in this spiritual path, there is no loss, there is no diminution. So whatever spiritual activities that we do, coming here, listening to Bhagavad Gita, from the divine wisdom that Lord spoke, it is adding spiritual punya. Chanting of the holy name is adding spiritual punya. Distributing Bhagavad Gita is adding spiritual punya. See, when we started off, you all came, most of you all came from Janmashtami, you all registered and you came. We had registered close to 500 people. How many people are there here now? Close to 80, 100? 80, 100. Now, can you tell me why only 80, 100? And why are you sticking here still? Lord's wish. Lord is wishing everyone six. Yes, okay, I take that. See, one thing we have to understand, you all have to understand that you all have spiritual punya. Don't take this lightly. Right? You all have spiritual punya. There are people who attended classes in the first and 2 seconds, first and 2 sessions, and they knocked off also. You know, bhakti is like a straight road. You can close your eyes and run also. You still reach the destination. But on this road, there are certain allurements. While you're going through, there are certain allurements like Panipuri shop, like there is a mall, there is a shopping complex. So what happens as we are walking the path in bhakti, someone takes a deviation and they are stuck there. Then the devotee comes and pulls them back. What we have done, what we are doing this, we would have probably done in our previous life also. But we didn't complete it. That's why we are sitting here, still listening. Same goes with me as well. And we're still listening because we went into that allurement. We didn't focus. Allurement. This life, there was a devotee probably in Janmashtami, called you back. Now it is our duty to, if you want to walk the straight road, again go to a Panipuri shop or a shopping mall. This is just allurement I'm talking about. Don't take it in a literal sense. Right? But Lord, like you said, Lord is very merciful. He always sends someone to actually help you. That is, if you have spiritual punya. You are here because you have spiritual punya. Now it is left to you if you want to walk the straight road. Hold each other's hands. See, that's why this association, this sangha is so important in our life. Because outside, it's completely material. This Sunday session is like a booster. It gives you energy. At least 3-4 days, this energy is there. Then I know the energy drops down. Then I tell my friends, please call them up on Friday and Saturday. So you get call Friday, Saturday, you get messages also. Right? And they call you because it's very important. I know otherwise people won't come. You will come if you have decided, you are determined. You will come. There are some people who are determined. For instance, I think there was Ajinkya Prabhu here. He had attended my session when, Prabhuji? 3-4 years back? I think he has attended the maximum Gita course session that I've given. Probably 5-6 years already. Prabhuji was one, and one of my members who actually used to follow up with him, he used to just send him Hare Krishna Prabhu. His response was, Prabhuji, I'm coming. So that Prabhuji used to always tell me that I never had to call him also, Prabhu. If I just write Hare Krishna, his response is, I'm coming. So that's because there is a lot of determination, there is a lot of spiritual punya. Right? So it's very important to actually be steady in this path. Let's not see. Otherwise, what happens? Multiple lifetimes will keep coming. We'll keep hearing Bhagavad Gita. We'll keep hearing Bhagavad Puran. But we'll never complete. There is no loss in this. If we have completed 50% of a bhakti in this lifetime, what Krishna says is, there is no loss or diminution. You will start from 51%. Material education, how is it? I do my first standard, second standard, 10th standard degree. I do my MBA, right, from a very reputed university. I die. What happens? Do I start my MBA again? Oh, I have to start from ABCD again. That is what is material education is. But spiritual education, spiritual punya, actually starts from where you left. There are so many kids, if you see in the temple, I met a kid, my mentor, right, when I started off, my mentor, his son actually at the age of 3, if there was no formal coaching, he started playing mridanga in the temple itself. How does this happen? This is because of spiritual punya, because he had done this in the past. Otherwise, it's not very easy to. You have heard about child prodigies and all that. Right? A lot of things also, even when it comes to certain samskaras, when it comes to solving maths problems, you would have heard. Some kids, very intelligent. So that's how it is. So we need to take this very, very, very seriously. You should be very thankful. We should be very grateful to Lord Srila Prabhupada and the devotees that we are in this path and listening to this. Let's take this seriously. Let's not deviate this time. This whole episode that I'm speaking about time is for us to understand we have very less time. Right? Where should I invest my time? What will remain with me forever? This is something that we should focus on. Right? There was a king and there was a minister. Right? The king was very happy that he had so many palaces, queens, and he was very proud of his earnings. So many kingdoms he has conquered. And Mantri one day told, "Sir, I have a very bad news." "What is it?" "Sir, you will die soon." So this is the bad news he gave. The next day he came, Mantri told him, "Sir, I have a good news. At least give me the good news. You will go to heaven." And he is like, "Oh, thank God, at least I'm going to heaven." The next day he tells, "Sir, there is one bad news. In the heaven, there are a lot of mosquitoes." So he said, "Mosquitoes? Now what? Now what will I do?" The next day he tells, "Sir, one good news. There is mosquito net just for you." So he's happy. Next day, again one more bad news. That mosquito net has a big hole. "Sir, so what should I do, Mantri?" Sir, so Mantri says, "So what best we could do is we can take a needle and cloth from here while we're dying." So that's when it struck the king. How can I take needle and cloth? Right? So that's when it struck the king that he can't take all the things that he has amassed. His property, his achievements, his queens, everything, his sons, daughters, his palaces, everything he has to live with. So we should actually we should know where should we invest our time, what will actually remain with us forever, and then we should focus on that. Right? I'll play this video if it plays. Yeah.
There's a well-known story about a university professor who wanted to make a point about how we make the most of our time. The professor stood before his class with some items in front of him. When the class began, without speaking, he picked up a large empty jar and proceeded to fill it with rocks about 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was full. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly and watched as the pebbles rolled into the open areas between the rocks. The professor then asked the students again if the jar was full. They chuckled and agreed that it was indeed full this time. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. The sand filled the remaining open areas of the jar. "Now," said the professor, "I want you to recognize that this jar signifies your life. The rocks are the truly important things, such as family, health, and relationships. If all else was lost and only the rocks remained, your life would still be meaningful. The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school. The sand signifies the remaining small stuff and material possessions. If you were to put sand into the jar first, there is no room for the rocks or the pebbles. The same can be applied to your lives. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are truly important. Pay attention to the things in life that are critical to your happiness and well-being. Take time to look after your health, play with your children, go for a run, write a letter to your grandmother. There will always be time to go to work, clean the house, or watch TV. Take care of the rocks first. The things that really matter, set your priorities. The rest is just pebbles and sand."
Such a nice video, right? So here it's very important for us to understand what is prioritized, what we should prioritize in our life. Right? Our family, our health, our spiritual aspect is what we should prioritize. See, rest things will come and go. It's not that I'm telling you completely neglect. You should not neglect. There should be a balance. We should all balance. Everyone around here, there are a lot of people who actually, when we actually discuss during Prasadhan time, "Prabhuji, आप सिर्फ यही करते हो क्या?" So I tell them, "No, I have a family, I work. 5 days a week I work, and I take out time, Saturday and Sunday, to do this, to do preaching, right? And that's very important for us. And similarly, Everyone around here does the same. We are all grihasthas, running our house, our family, looking after our people, and doing devotion service. So what we understand from here is that a lot of people say, how do you manage it? How do you manage it? It is only because of Srila Prabhupada we are managing it. It is only because of our mentors we are able to manage it. Because we learn from each other. Right? So it's not that nobody has time. Everyone has time. It is the way we want to manage it. It is the way how we want to prioritize it. If we deepen our sadhana, if we deepen our spiritual practice, it will give us an understanding, it will give us an intelligence as to where we should spend our time most. Otherwise, the worldly things will capture your heart, and again, we will deviate. Again, next life, we can pray. If I have spiritual punya, maybe Lord will send one devotee. If we don't have spiritual punya, very difficult. Right? So whatever you do right now, it's adding to your spiritual punya. So it's good. Keep adding to your spiritual punya. Deepen your sadhana. Don't stay in the same place forever. What happens is a lot of time people feel nice. I'm doing one round of chanting, I feel so nice. This is where I want to be. You become complacent. Sadhana should increase. Your knowledge should deepen. Right? Because this process is anandamaya. Complete bliss, and this bliss is nothing of this world. It is something that the spiritualists experience. And then you feel the happiness that is there in this material world is very frivolous. ये तो आ गया, निकल गया. Right? And that's why spiritualists know where to spend their time. And that is very important. Right? How to effectively utilize our time. Okay, I will read the translation. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So Krishna says this is 18th chapter, 54th verse. Right? So one thing we have to understand, in our life, we are actually between Sochati and Kanchati. Sochati is we are always dwelling in our past. Kanchati is we are always thinking about our future. So we are like a pendulum who's always dangling. Sochati, Kanchati. We are never at the present. So when we actually do spiritual sadhana, it helps you remain in the present. So what are we doing when it comes to mantra meditation? We are trying to focus our mind, our ears into the words that are coming out of our mouth. That is the holy names that is coming out of our mouth. And that is where we actually try to focus. We are trying, there is a saying, no, being in the present. We are never in the present, even now. Like while I was giving this particular session, some of you, your mind already went outside the door without even opening the door. Some of our mind also already went down kitchen thinking what is prepared today. Right? So it's always like that. So our mind is never there in the present. We're never enjoying the present. So when it comes to spiritual sadhana, it actually helps us. This is what is helping us to be in the present. Our focus comes back. Right? So that's what Krishna says. Right? So make time for spiritual practice. If we make time for spiritual practice, all other things will fall in place because Lord will give you the intelligence. Because Krishna says, Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. I am the one who is actually giving you intelligence. Right? Primary aspects of spiritual practice are chanting the names of Lord because Kali Yuga, Naam was the most important. Kali Kale Naam Rupa Krishna Avatar. Krishna has taken avatar and the Kali is Naam Rupa. Kalau Tad Hari Kirtana. In Kali Yuga, it is only Hari Kirtana which will actually get you to the Lord. There are so many shlokas where Krishna tells, do chanting of the holy names, you will come back to me. Krishna says, Satatam Kirtayam Tomam. Always chant my name. Are we able to always chant his name? At least start with 1 or 2 rounds. Always chanting will happen later. At least start. Right? These are small things. Reading Bhagavad Gita and other prescribed books. Bhagavad Gita, you should not just leave it to me. Sunday प्रभु जी लेंगे क्लास, ये बात हो जाएगा. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं. There should be endeavor from your side. That's when Krishna also helps. This particular devotee is trying hard to reach me. He's trying hard to understand me. He's trying hard to build a relationship with me. I need to help him or her. That's when Krishna will also help. Right? Because every one of us will have to have that kind of spiritual desire in our life. If you have spiritual desire, Lord will take care of it. If you feel, well, Prabhuji, Lord, I'm not able to do more than one round, I don't get the time. And if it's a very intense prayer with a lot of heart, Lord will give you the time. I've actually have so many devotees as examples that I don't have time. Now they are actually chanting 16 rounds. 16 rounds in a day, that is spending 2 hours on chanting the holy names of the Lord. So it's only the desire. If we have the desire, Lord, he says, Aham Kalosmi, I am time personified. So Lord, time works under him. Right? So he will easily give it. We can't control, but he will. Right? Hearing from pure devotees. Always ensure that you are hearing from the right source. In this day and age, everything is available in YouTube. There is so many things, but you don't know if it's true or if it's right from the Shastras. So it's very important to actually discriminate as to what we hear also, because it influences our mind. It's very important. Just like the kind of food that we eat influences our body and our thoughts, what we hear also influences us. So it's very important. Attending satsang. This is very important. Attending satsang is very important. Why did Srila Prabhupada build an organization like ISKCON? Why did he build? So that like-minded people can come here and talk about Krishna. What did he get? He didn't get anything. He made it for all of us, so that we can attain Lord. So we should take maximum advantage of this. Come here, attend the satsang, eat the Krishna prasadam that is offered to the Lord. Right? And similar thing, you should also start practicing it at your home. This is how you start building relationship with the Lord. You will see there are Lord is actually so reciprocative. Lord will reciprocate with you. And our Lord is like that. If he sees my devotee is doing so many things, I need to reciprocate. And there are so many instances Lord reciprocates. Cook a nice bhoga for Lord, with the intention that it is only for my Krishna. Offer it to him with full love and devotion. Krishna doesn't need our paneer sabji roti and all, right? Sahasra Lakshmis are actually taking care of him. Why does he need? But we need him. And when he understood that devotee wants to come to me, my son, my daughter, he helps, he reciprocates. What Krishna says is the intention behind what we do. The bhava, that's why it's called bhava grahi janardana. That is what we need to do. Yeah. So quick advancement formula. These are the formulas. Association. What we do is very important. Associated with like-minded people. Right? It's very important. Stay in touch. Stay in touch with your mentors. If there is any doubt you have, you can directly write to me also. Then books. Read Bhagavad Gita. Open the book. If you don't have the book, buy it. There are all the languages that is available. Please buy it. See, chanting. Again, chanting, you should have a chanting bag and a chanting bead. You should chant on the bead. Right? Always, there are some rules of doing everything. When you go to school, what do? Do we wear anything and go? No, there are rules. Right? We wear a uniform and then go. Similarly, chanting also, you have a japa mala, a japa bag, because you don't put the mala outside and doesn't touch the floor. Right? The japa mala should be inside the bag. Then discourses, sharing these discourses regularly here. Right? And then engagement. Get engaged with all the activities that we do. You can do so many things, right? When you come here also, you can actually all that you do for this particular center. This center is like a temple. Wherever you actually have served the Lord, that place becomes temple. This was a normal building, but when a center came, it just became a temple. You can do activities here. You can clean the floor. You can serve prasadam. You can do so many. These are all sevas. And this all gets added in your spiritual activity, spiritual punya. Right? And then food. Very important that we have Krishna prasadam. Right? It's very important that we have Krishna. If you're not started it, please start it. Something you should offer to the Lord. If for now you're not able to offer anything, offer fruits, dry fruits at least. Offer it with all love. Right? It is said that you offer it with love, Krishna will accept it. So start off small. And eat the prasadam. Give it to your friends. Give it to your family. Right? So I will end the session now. Any questions and answers? No answers I have to give. Any questions? Yes, Prabhuji. Mike, please. Please raise hands. First question.
So probably told about 4 pillars. So austerity is lost in Vishuddha.
Austerity was lost in Treta Yuga. Yes, because everything was present in Satya Yuga. Yeah, austerity.
Truthfulness is still there.
Truthfulness to a certain degree is still there. Hare Krishna.
So from pure devotees, how do we classify
Yes, it's a very nice question. See, one thing we have to understand before the start of this session, I told that Krishna is very particular about what you hear. So he says, how you get this knowledge, you should be very discriminative about it. You just can't read anything and everything. That's why he says, Evam Parampara Praptam. So you have to listen to the message of Bhagavad Gita coming from a sampradaya, coming from a parampara. So there are 4 sampradayas that is given, bona fide sampradayas that is given, Vaishnava sampradayas. That is, one is Brahma Madhava Gaudiya sampradaya, one is Rudra sampradaya, one is Sri sampradaya, and one is Kumara sampradaya. And ISKCON falls under Brahma Madhava Gaudiya sampradaya. Right? So it's very important that you hear from proper sampradaya. And when you're talking about pure devotees, we are all trying to be one. Right? But it's very difficult. Even when you are hearing from my mouth, I am actually only repeating what Srila Prabhupada said. Right? So it is so indirectly you are hearing from a pure devotee. I may not be that pure. Right? But the message that I gave is pure because it's coming from Srila Prabhupada, who is actually a pure devotee of this. Right? So that is the way that you take it. Yes. So sampradaya is very important because you need to ensure that you are falling into the right sampradaya because that is where the knowledge is not lost or concocted or interpreted in a very different way. That is exactly the message that Krishna wanted to give. Right? So it comes in that disciple. If you see our Bhagavad Gita, in the preface or introduction, there is actually a list of acharyas from Krishna himself. There are 32 acharyas list. How the message has come down. Right? So that's very important. So that is listed in our Bhagavad Gita. Any other questions? If you have any other questions apart from the session also, please, you can ask. Okay? You just don't need to stick to, if you have anything that is in your mind, please.
Yeah. So you talked about those humans,
Yes.
So by designing it is made like that. So my question is that when we know that this is what way and the form is going to be followed, why
Yes.
not by design it is stopped at only the appeal? Why other humans are
Yes, yes. See, one reason why we are in the material world, even if it's Satya Yuga, it's still the material world. What is the ultimate purpose in life? To achieve Krishna, to attain Krishna, to go back to Godhead, they say. Right? So even if you are in Satya Yuga, you're still here. Even if you're in Satya Yuga, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is still affecting you. Constant Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, you're still there in that cycle. So one thing we have to understand, the Lord has designed this in a way When sufferings come in your life, it is for you to actually be dependent on Lord. So that you become more dependent on Lord. When you become more dependent on Lord, your sadhana increases. And that's when we actually go back to Him. Because even if you are in Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, or any Yuga, you're still in the material world. And in the material world, there is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. There are other three kleshas. Adi Bhautik klesha, Adhyatmik klesha, and what is that? Adi Daivika klesha. These three kleshas are still there. So we are still stuck. Just like I told, right? When we are discussing the modes, there is mode of Rajasic mode, Sattvic mode, and Tamo mode. So everyone wants to come to Sattvic mode. But the problem is people want to remain in Sattvic mode because there is a lot of pleasure in that mode. But Sattvic mode is also in the material plane. So there is something called a Shuddha Sattva mode, which is transcendental, beyond the Sattvic mode. That is where we should aspire to be. So even if it's Satya Yuga, the ultimate, the point that I want to bring across is still in the material plane. Right? The ultimate goal of life is actually to find a relationship with Lord. Because we are spiritual beings, we are supposed to be in the spiritual world. So even if you're looking for happiness here, there is no happiness. That's why Krishna labels this place as Dukhalaya. Right? He labels this place as Dukhalaya. There will be momentary pleasure, but it will go up. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Temporary. It is Dukhalayam and temporary. So where do we get complete happiness? Continuous happiness. It is in the spiritual world where there is no Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. The time factor doesn't affect in the spiritual world. Yeah? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
As I told you, we have so and one more.
Satya Teta Dwapara Kali. Yeah.
But in some practice, there is one brings criticism and coming back to Satya.
Yes, yes.
So that particular time is
See, what is called as, there are actually, see, that's why I said Kaal Chakra. This is cyclical, right? There is Shishti, Sriti, Pralaya. There is creation, there is maintenance for some time, and there is Pralaya. So what happens when we actually understood the lifespan of Brahmaji, his 12 hours we understood as 4.32 million years. And after his day, there is partial annihilation that happens. So partial annihilation, when it happens, the 14 planetary systems, only the top 3 remain, rest all are submerged under water. And when Brahmaji's 100 years goes, that is 311 trillion years, there is complete annihilation. The entire planetary system is submerged and it dissolves into Mahavishnu. Right? So that's what. And once that is done, there is a certain time. That's the time that you're talking about. Again, the creation happens. Again, the Jivas are actually brought about, who couldn't complete their spiritual progress, right? Who still have something material in him. They are still brought back into this material world. So it is cyclical. It is cyclical. It doesn't end here. So if you want, see, that's why I said, Punarapi Punarajanam is happening. We would have been there in Satya Yuga also. We would have been there in Treta Yuga. We would have been there in Dwapar. We are there in Kali Yuga also. Do we want to repeat this? That is up to us. Right? Which one, Prabhuji? I don't know what exactly the word is. There is something called a Sandhi also. I don't know if that is what you're mentioning, because that is the kind of brief amount of time that is given. So that is called Sandhi in Sanskrit. Maybe that is. I don't know the exact word. Addition. Yes. Anything else, or we'll start with group discussion? Okay, Mataji has one. I'll take this last question. If you have questions, please write it down. We'll actually discuss it when we are having this up. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
This question was related
one of the previous questions. So it was mentioned that even like cooking the food, the person who makes it, in what mode the person makes the food, impacts the person who is eating it, and it has long-term effects. So as working women, most of us, I mean, do not have the luxury to cook it ourselves and serve it to the family. And if we hire someone, we cannot control the mood. So how do we minimize or reduce the negative effects of like in the long term of that particular food, if the food is maybe not in a good form.
Yes, this is a common question, Mataji. In Kali Yuga, right now the situation is just that both family members are working. It's very difficult, right? And in practical terms, if you're looking at it, if we are not able to find time to even cook, I would suggest that for now, what you can do is something very practical is that for now, at least start with vegetarian food, right? It's very important. And when you start with vegetarian food, and in your mind, you can actually offer it to the Lord. See, Lord is very accommodating, but you should not take that as an advantage, right? You should never take it because if you think you can cheat the Lord, Lord is the biggest cheater, right? He is the biggest cheater, right? And you can't cheat the Lord. So if the intention is right that I don't have time, but I still want to offer you something, and in turn eat that as a prasadam, you can actually mentally offer. Right? This is something practically you can do. But in other words, what I would also say is make an offering to the Lord also that you give me the time to actually manage this. Right? And that is very important. Somehow make me manage this. Maybe give me some time in the night so that I can cook for the next day or something of that sort. Right? So as we want to grow in spirituality, our intention should be to help to actually go towards the Lord. Our intention should be very clear, right? And if our intention is that my karma should be clear, see, Lord will help, but your Lord will help you more when your intention is to serve Him more. Right? I'm able to cook. If I'm not able to cook, I will not be able to give Lord anything today. Right? So you're working and you whatever food that you get. So first you mentally offer. That's why we have when we have after our Aarti Kirtan, we actually have the Prasad mantra, Maha mantra. The Prasad mantra is there. So that is what we are actually offering that to Lord, and then whatever remnants that He has eaten, we eat it as Mahaprasad. Right? So for now, what you can do is actually try this vegetarian food, then make an intense prayer to the Lord. Right? Please accept this because of whatever I'm going through, I'm not able to make it myself. But please take this as an offering from me. And also ensure that you give me some kind of power and time to actually cook for you someday. I really want to. If the prayer is very intense, Lord will actually help you. The prayer should be intense. And the intent of the prayer is what matters. Right? People don't take prayers to be like very strong. So you should have faith. When you have faith, the Lord can change anything. That is what there's a very nice um, story. I'll just quickly tell. There was there were two devotees of the Lord. One devotee of the Lord constantly chanting Lord's name. There was another devotee who was working because there were so many hardships in his life. So he was most of his life he was just to meet his daily. So he was constantly working, and in between, whenever he had time, he used to chant Lord's name. So he never used to waste. So Narada used to ask Lord, "Who is your favorite?" So Lord said, "The guy who's working hard, no, he's my favorite." So Narada asked, "Why?" So go to them and tell them, they will ask you what was Lord doing. So just tell them Lord was sitting there sleeping on Ananta Shesha, and he was taking a needle and putting an elephant through that needle hole. So Narada said, "Okay, fine, I'll go tell them." So as Narada went to the first person who was constantly chanting, and that person asked Narada, "What is Lord doing in Vaikuntha? What is he doing? Please tell me." And the Narada said, Lord was sleeping, lying on his bed, and he was actually passing the elephant through the needle, hole of the needle. That person laughed. Is that even possible? And he went to the other person And he told the similar story when he said, "What is Lord doing?" That person was asking. Because you are Narada, you're so intimate associate of the Lord. What is Lord doing? He said, Lord was actually passing the elephant through the hole of the needle. Oh, my Lord can do anything. He will pass the mountain also through that. He can pass a whole Brahmanda through a needle. What is elephant? This is the faith. Faith we need to have. When you have faith, your sadhana will be intense. So that is what we require. Yeah. So I will stop for now. We'll have quick group discussion. Everyone is present. Oh, quiz. My God, I forgot. Quiz time. So who is going to? Vivek Prabhuji, you will find the person you. So one Prabhuji, one Mataji. Let's go like that. First question. What are the 5 main aspects discussed in Bhagavad Gita? Raise hands and Vivek Prabhuji will pick.
Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and Karma.
Very nice. Hari Bol. What are the 4 pillars of Dharma? Pick Prabhuji.
Truthfulness, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness.
Thank you so much. Hari Bol, big Hari Bol. Give me the sloka number where Krishna says he is time personified. Raise your hands. Prabhuji will pick. What is the shloka number, Mataji? Mataji seems to have a lot of notes. Very nice. Big Haribol to Mataji. Very nice. Explain to me what is one Divya Yuga. Raise your hands and explain. Okay. What is one Divya Yuga?
One detail is 10x what we have calculated.
Aggregate. Very good. Very good. Big Haribol to Prabhuji. It is 10x, right? We know the calculation, right? 1x, 2x, 3x, and 4x, right? Last question. This one everyone should know by now. Please raise your hands if you know the answer. How many earthly years does Lord Brahmaji live? Raise your hands. I need the number.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
311 trillion 40 billion.
Very nice. Big Haribol to Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm very happy that I see so many enthusiastic people amongst us. My only request is that if you have not started chanting, I request you all, please chant. Right? While the Sunday sessions are always available for us, it is also important that we take things in our hand as well. Right? And please start chanting. It's very important. It is the Yuga Dharma. Right? And I told you how easy it is for us to deviate. And if we want to walk this path and attain the Lord, it is very important for us to be very determined. Right? There are times that we will feel we will not be enthusiastic, but that is the time you actually take help from your mentors. Take help from them. Prabhuji, how do I go through this? There are so many things happening in my life. Right? That is the time you take help from it. These are the mentors who are constantly calling you and following up with you. They are people like you. They are people who are working. They are people who are actually taking care of their family and doing so many things. But they find time for this. So please take help. Right? Please take help and be very firm and determined in this path. Yeah. So we'll actually have the group discussion again. We'll discuss on what we have discussed today's session, Kaal Chakra. Right? So can you all know your mentors by now? Yeah. Please, there is everyone here, Sadhu Prabhuji, Nitin Prabhu. So Viral Prabhuji is not here. So Kunjesha Prabhu is taking on behalf of Viral Prabhu. Viral Prabhuji used to sit here. Abhijit Prabhuji. Yes. Prabhuji, you can sit in the place where we were sitting earlier. So it's easy for them. And those who don't have mentors, I would request you to give your names to Kunjesha Prabhu. Here, Kunjesha Prabhu, he will assign. Those who don't have mentors, please.